Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Ever been digging through your change, maybe at a laundromat or just cleaning out that old jar on your dresser, and you pull out a quarter? You glance at the date. 1977. It looks and feels just like any other quarter. But it makes you wonder, is it just a quarter? Could this seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change from the disco era be hiding a secret? Could it be worth more than its 25-cent face value? Well, in today's deep dive, we're going to uncover the complete story of the 1977 Washington quarter. We're talking mintages, errors, varieties, and of course, the real circulating value you can expect to find. So, stick around, because the answer might just surprise you. The nation was celebrating its bicentennial just a year earlier. Jimmy Carter was inaugurated as president. Star Wars hit theaters and changed cinema forever. And the average cost of a new house was about $49,300. Inflation was a real concern, and coins were a daily, essential part of commerce. The Washington quarter design, featuring the iconic profile of our first president on the obverse, was created by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932. By 1977, this design had been in continuous use for 45 years, not counting the special bicentennial reverse in 1975 to 1976. The 1977 quarter marks a return to the standard eagle reverse design after 2 years of the patriotic drummer boy. So, it's a common coin from a not-so-distant, yet very different, era. Value in coin collecting is almost always driven by supply and demand. So, let's look at the supply. How many 1977 quarters were made? 1977 P. Philadelphia Mint ** 468,556,000 1977 D. Denver Mint ** 256,524,978 total ** over 725 million quarters. Let that number sink in. 725 million. That is an astronomical number. To put it in perspective, if you stacked all of them on top of each other, the pile would be over 68 miles high. The P mint coin from Philadelphia is the most common. You'll notice it has no mint mark. The D mint coin from Denver is less common but still with a mintage of over $250 million. So, in purely numerical terms, these are extremely common coins. Because of these huge numbers, even after decades of circulation, there are still millions upon millions of these coins out there in jars, bankrolls, and, of course, in circulation. This abundance is the number one reason why a typical worn 1977 quarter is still worth exactly 25 cents. Oh, let's get right to the question you clicked on this video for. What is the circulating value of a 1977 quarter? If you have a coin that looks like this dot with wear and tear, scratches, and maybe a bit dirty, then its value is purely its face value. It's a great candidate for spending or using for laundry. Neither the 1977 P nor the 1977 D, in well-worn condition, carries any numismatic premium. Now, if you have a coin that is in exceptionally nice condition for a circulating coin, what we call AU, or about uncirculated, with very slight wear on the highest points, it might be worth a small premium to a collector trying to fill an album without buying a brand new coin. We're talking 50 cents to maybe $1. But the effort to sell it for that minimal profit usually isn't worth it. But wait, don't click away just yet. The story isn't over. While circulated examples are face value, the uncirculated and proof versions are where we start to see some collector interest. Because so many were saved in rolls by collectors and hoarders at the time, there are still tons of brilliant uncirculated 1977 quarters out there. You can easily buy a single uncirculated 1977 P or 1977 D quarter for $1 to $3 online or at a coin show. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof coins for collectors. These are not circulation strikes. They are specially made with polished dies and planchets to have a mirror-like background and frosted design. These were sold in annual proof sets. A 1977 S-proof quarter, by itself, is also a common coin. You can pick one up for around $2 to $4 depending on how deep the mirror finish is. The value is in the complete proof set, which includes the penny, nickel, dime, quarter, and half dollar, usually selling for around $15 to $20. Alright, here's where things get exciting. This is the treasure hunt section. While a normal 1977 quarter is common, there are some famous errors and varieties that can be worth serious money. This is not to be confused with a common machine doubling, which looks flat and shelf-like. A true double die shows clear, distinct separation in the letters. It's caused by a misalignment in the hub when the die was created. A genuine 1977 DDO quarter, even in circulated condition, can be worth $200 to over $500 depending on its grade. They are very rare, so you need to have it authenticated by a service like PCGS or NGC. Another thing to look for is off-center strikes. This is when the coin blank isn't fed into the press correctly and it gets struck off-center. The value depends on how dramatic the error is. A 5% off-center might fetch $10 to $20, while a 50% off-center could be worth $100 or more. Also, check for clipped planchets, where a part of the coin metal is missing because it was punched from an incorrectly overlapping sheet of metal. Remember, these errors are the exception, not the rule. But that's what makes coin roll hunting so fun, you never know. So, let's bring it all home. The 1977 Washington quarter is a classic piece of 70s Americana, but its massive mintage means it's incredibly common. For 99.9% of you, the 1977 quarter in your pocket is worth a quarter. But it's a fantastic coin to use as a teaching tool. It represents an era of huge mintages and serves as a baseline for understanding what makes a coin valuable. Scarcity and condition, so, next time you find one, give it a quick glance. Check for those doubled letters or a weird strike. You might just get lucky. And if not, you've got a piece of history you can use to buy a gumball. So today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1965 quarter. We're going to bust some myths, explain the history, and most importantly, I'm going to show you the 3 specific things you absolutely must look for on your 1965 quarter that could actually make it valuable. Stick around, because number 3 is incredibly rare and most people have never even heard of it. To understand the 1965 quarter, we have to go back in time. Before 1965, dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. That meant even their melt value was intrinsically worth more than their face value. But in the early 1960s, the price of silver started to skyrocket. People began hoarding silver coins, melting them down for profit. The U.S. Mint was facing a massive coin shortage. So, they made a huge change. Starting in 1965, they switched the composition of dimes and quarters to a clad composition, a core of pure copper sandwiched between 2 outer layers of cupronickel, a mix of copper and nickel. This new coin had no silver content at all. This is why 1964 quarters are the last of the silver ones and are highly sought after. And this is where the myth for the 1965 quarter begins. Because the transition wasn't perfectly clean, people started rumors that some 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets, the blank discs of metal, left over from 1964. The number one thing you need to check is the most famous myth. Is it silver? This is incredibly easy to check. Don't look at the date first. Look at the edge. A regular, clad 1965 quarter will have a visible stripe of brown copper running right through the middle of the edge. If you see that brown line, it is not silver. It's worth exactly 25 cents. Now, a genuine silver 1965 quarter would have a solid silver edge, with no copper band whatsoever. The Mint has consistently stated that number 1965 dated quarters were intentionally struck in silver. However, in the chaotic transition, could a few silver planchets have gotten stuck in a bin and been struck by accident? It's theoretically possible, but if it happened, it would be one of the greatest numismatic discoveries of all time. If you find a 1965 quarter with a solid silver edge, you need to get it certified by NGC or PCGS immediately. An error like that, if genuine, could be worth well over $5,000, maybe even into the tens of thousands. But I have to be brutally honest, the chances of finding one are astronomically low. I've never held a verified one, okay, so your quarter has a copper edge. It's not silver. Is it worthless? Not necessarily. The next thing to look for are mint marks and errors. No mint mark equals Philadelphia Mint D equals Denver Mint in 1965. To discourage collecting and hoarding during the coin shortage, the Mint removed mint marks from all coins. So, every single 1965 quarter, whether it was made in Philadelphia or Denver, has no mint mark. If you find a 1965 quarter with a D mint mark, it is an error. It shouldn't exist. And coins that shouldn't exist are what collectors pay big money for. Again, these are exceptionally rare. Next, look for striking errors. These can include off-center strikes. The design isn't centered. The more off-center, the more valuable. Double dies, doubling of the lettering and date. Look at the words, "In God We Trust," and the date, 1965. Broad strikes, the coin was struck without the collar die, making it look flatter and wider than a normal quarter. Nice error coin, depending on the type and severity, could be worth anywhere from $20 to a few $100s to a serious error collector. In 1965, the Mint stopped making proof sets for collectors because they were too busy making circulation coins. Instead, they offered special Mint sets. These coins were struck with more care than regular circulation coins, on polished dies, giving them a gorgeous, satiny, frosted look. They are stunning. How can you tell an SMS quarter from a regular one? Look for these traits: sharp details. The features, especially Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, will be incredibly sharp and crisp. Satin finish: it won't be mirror-like like a proof, but it will have a brilliant, smooth, satiny surface. Lack of bag marks because they were handled carefully and packaged in sets. They have very few nicks or scratches. 1965 SMS quarter in brilliant condition can be worth a significant premium. A full special Mint set in its original packaging might fetch $25 to $50. But a single SMS quarter in gem condition could easily be worth $10 to $20 on its own, which is a huge premium over face value. For any coin, but especially for a common date like 1965, condition is king. A worn, circulated 1965 quarter is worth 25 cents. But a pristine, uncirculated example that has retained its full luster and has no wear, that's a coin that collectors want. Oh, even if you don't have a silver error or an SMS, a truly beautiful 1965 quarter is still worth more than face value to a collector building a high-grade set. So, let's do a quick recap. Your 1965 quarter is most likely worth 25 cents. But you need to check for these three things. A solid silver edge could mean a fortune, but it's almost impossible. Look for missing mint marks where they shouldn't be, off-center strikes, or double dies. That satiny, super sharp coin could be worth $10 or more. The big takeaway: don't get scammed by people online selling regular 1965 quarters for crazy prices. But also, don't just spend it without a quick glance. You might just have a small treasure. Today, we're tackling a coin that literally millions of you have probably held in your hand: the 1983 Washington quarter. It's not old enough to be classic silver, and it's not new enough to have modern errors everyone talks about. So, the big question we're answering today is your extremely common 1983 quarter just worth 25 cents, or could it be a hidden gem worth hundreds of dollars? Stick around, because the answer might surprise you, and we're going to show you exactly what to look for. First, let's set the stage. By 1983, the U.S. Mint had been making copper-nickel-clad quarters for almost 2 decades, ever since silver was removed in 1965. These coins have a core of pure copper, sandwiched between outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. They look silver, but they don't have the precious metal content. Now, the mintage numbers for 1983 were huge. We're talking Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark *** 673,535,000. Denver Mint, DE, mint mark 617,806,446. That's over 1.2 billion quarters. So, right off the bat, the vast majority of 1983 quarters are just that, extremely common. Finding one in your change is a certainty, not a surprise. In circulated condition, worn, scratched, used, these are face value coins. 25 cents. Period. Let's be brutally honest first to manage expectations. If you have a 1983 P or 1983 D quarter that you found in circulation, from a car wash, a cash register, your grandma's old purse, it is almost certainly worth 25 cents. Circulated coins are graded on a scale from good to about uncirculated. Even an extremely fine coin, which has very light wear on the highest points like Washington's hair and the eagle's breast, might only sell to a collector for 50 cents to $1, and that's only if they need it to fill a date slot in an album. The profit margin after shipping and fees makes it not worth it for just one coin. So, if you're looking at a worn 1983 quarter, don't dream of retirement just yet. Its value is in its spending power, not its collectability. The real story for the 1983 quarter is not in wear, but in flaws. This is it. The reason the 1983 quarter is famous among error collectors. I'm talking about the 1983 double die obverse quarter. A double die occurs when a hub, the master tool that impresses a design into a working die, impresses the design slightly shifted during a second hubbing. This creates a die with a doubled image, which then strikes thousands of coins with that same doubled, distorted look. On the 1983 quarter, you need to look at the obverse, The heads side with George Washington. The doubling is most prominent on the inscriptions. Look here at the words, "In God We Trust." You should see clear separation or doubling, especially on the letters G, O, and D. Next, check the Liberty along the left side of the coin. The doubling is often very strong there. Finally, check the date itself. The 1983 might show some doubling. This is not machine doubling or die deterioration, which is common and worthless. That looks flat and shelf-like. This is true, collectible double die doubling. And it is rare. Because of its rarity and popularity, even a circulated example of the 1983 double die quarter is valuable. A well-worn one might fetch $150 to $250. If you find one in nicer, lightly circulated condition, you could be looking at $500 or more. And uncirculated examples? They can sell for well over $1,000. While the double die is the king, other errors can add a small premium. Remember, we're talking about circulated coins, so these might be harder to find, but it's possible a coin that was struck misaligned. The value depends on how far off it is. A 5% off-center might only be worth $10 to $20, but a 50% off-center strike could be worth over $100, even circulated, a coin that was struck without the retaining collar, so it's the correct thickness but is spread out larger than a normal quarter. These are unusual and can bring a premium. This is for the 83D only. If the mint mark was punched into the die more than once and slightly misaligned, you might see doubling or separation on the tiny D mint mark. These are more for specialized collectors but can add $10 to $50 to the value. As dies break down, they develop cracks. A small die crack might not add much value, but a major cud break, where a piece of the die is missing, creating a blob of metal on the coin, is always collectible. Alright, you're inspired. You want to check your coins. Here's how to do it like a pro. You absolutely need magnification. A simple 10x jeweler's loupe is cheap and perfect. Good, bright light is also essential. Slowly and carefully examine the lettering, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." Look for that distinct doubling, not a flat, machine-doubled shadow. Spin the coin around. Look for any striking oddities. Is it misshapen? Is the design off to one side? Are there weird raised blobs? The best trick is to have a normal 1983 quarter right next to it. Comparison is the easiest way to spot an abnormality. If you think you've found something truly promising, especially a potential double die, your next step is to go to the community. Take extremely clear, zoomed-in photos and post them on coin forums like coincommunity.com or the Reddit r/coins forum. The experts there can quickly tell you what you have. So, to recap, the 1983 quarter worn and circulated. ***, almost always 25 cents in perfect uncirculated condition. ***, maybe a $1 to $5 coin. With a double die error. ***, a potential mini lottery win worth hundreds of dollars, with another major error. ***, definitely worth a nice premium. The moral of the story is never to assume a modern coin is worthless. It only takes one small imperfection at the mint to turn everyday pocket change into a collectible treasure. The hunt is what makes this hobby so exciting. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button and subscribe ** for more coin guides every week. It really helps the channel out. Now I want to hear from you. ***, have you ever found a valuable error coin? Do you have a jar of coins you're going to check now? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep seeking. See you in the next video.